here once again. It's Sunday, so that means it's Bitcoin is freedom time. And I've got a really good show lined up, and I'm hoping that some of the stuff that I talk about resonates with you. But before I get to that, let me thank our sponsor, Roundly X. Tell you every week about these guys. They have a phenomenal platform, right? You connect your credit card or debit card to their system, and that's all you have to do. You just go and live your life the normal way you do. Keep operating as normal. Sats are being stored for you, right? That's just the way it is. They accumulate over time because they round up your purchases. Why don't you do us a favor? Go over to roundlyx.com, use Bitcoin is freedom, and get $4 in Satoshis, because it won't be a Bitcoin, but $4 in Satoshis. If you do that, they'll get it. So with that, let's get on with the show.
Here we go.
Let's get started.
And again, I want to thank the folks at Roundly X for making that intro for me. It's just amazing. It's phenomenal, right? I love it, love it. This is Bitcoin is freedom, folks. And as you know, my name is Paul McNeil. I'm the crypto curator. I curate news information every day. Why? Because I want everyone around me to be informed. I tell people this, listen, if you read what I read and you watch what I watch and you listen to what I listen to, you don't need me to tell you anything. The things that I tell you should not matter because you've read, watched, and listened to what everybody else is saying and what the market is saying. And therefore, you'll know what you need to do for this time, right? And so with that, let me thank some other sponsors that makes the show possible. Go Forward. They really help you take care of your health. That is exactly what it is. A new type of doctor's office. You have them right on your palm of your hand, mobile device. You can ask doctors, hey, I got an ache in my leg. Hey, what should I eat this? Hey, what's my results of my blood work? They take care of everything. Low fee, but if you take and click on that link, you can get 3 months at no cost. Check out Go Forward. A ton of other sponsors that's on there. Unchained Capital, of course, they're the best way for you to stack your Bitcoin. That is your Bitcoin. They keep it safe using multi-sig. They have a key, you have a key, your loved one has a key. It takes 2 of the 3 keys to move the Bitcoin, right? So if you and your loved one goes to Unchained Capital, you can move your Bitcoin. Or if you've passed away and your loved one is still here, they can go with the death certificate to Unchained, and because you have 2 keys, they can move the Bitcoin. It's a phenomenal solution. Go check out Unchained Capital. Okay, let's get on with the rest of this stuff that I got to tell you guys about. Listen, I want to look at this week, sort of a recap. It's really not a recap. It's really 3 points that I want to cover. The first point that I want to cover is the price. Last Monday, the price was sitting around $15,000. A lot of us was crying, the sky's falling, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. Bitcoin's going to go to 10,000. What do we do? And then by the middle of the week, Bitcoin pops back up, and now we're flirting around that 16.5 level, right? And it seems like some people think that we could be getting a little bit of a rally up to 18. Now, if that comes to pass, I don't know. I'm jokingly on Twitter talking about something big happening, but folks, if you're listening to me to make any kind of advice, you're really crazy. I am not here to give you any kind of financial advice. And if you're making decisions based on something I told you, you've got to be insane. Listen, I'm here to give you guys some information. That's it. As I said, I want you reading, watching, and listening to what I read, watch, and listen to. What you decide to do is up to you, not up to me. So don't look at me and say, oh, but you said, no, I didn't. Listen, unlike some of the other influencers, Paul is not getting paid tons and tons of dollars by recommending these platforms to you guys, okay? Just want to let you know that. It's not the case. So I'm not being compensated by FTX. I'm not being compensated by Coinbase. I'm not being compensated by Strike. Yeah, they have some affiliate links. And yes, because if you go sign up, I might get a little kickback, but that's about it. Listen, they're not paying me any big dollars. Now, my good friend Phil said, watch out, the sky's falling. Yeah, he's joking. Because me and him joke a lot. Listen, if you're listening, this right here, this is called Don't Fight the Fibs. Phil is the guy that you guys need to listen to. You're going to hear me say that later in the show. But this is the person that really understands. And I'm not saying that because I'm like, oh, he's an expert on this. The guy's got decades of experience doing this stuff, folks. This is not a fly-by-night type guy on Twitter or on Instagram or on YouTube talking about some outlandish crap. It's somebody that knows what he's doing. So I'll stop her. The next thing I want to talk about, the most covered story. Now, this is not the biggest story. It's just the most covered story. Story that when I collected all the news, more of the news sources printed this story, and it happened later in the week. But if you take a look at it, it's about the New York governor signing the proof of work mining moratorium into law, which is just absolutely insane. But that's okay. You're going to see something later that another governor is probably super happy that they did this because the Bitcoin mining comes to Texas. Listen, everything else is bigger in Texas. Everybody knows that. So is our mining. And then the last piece that I want to cover is the podcast of the week. Finding Bitcoin Signal with Jeff Booth. Everybody's a big Jeff Booth fan. Why? Because again, just like the Botswani, this man has spent a long time looking and researching and understanding the way the market is. And he has it at the whole new level. I mean, it's just a different level. I encourage you guys to really watch that video. And if you don't want to watch the whole thing, fast forward up to about 52 minutes in, and I'm telling you, it's gold. He talks about inflation and staff, and that's something that we all need to realize is how our money system works, who's in control, who's in power, and how they're manipulating the system to benefit certain folks. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but I do believe that there is a big system at play, but I'm not crazy enough to think that it's one party over the other. Oh, the conservative over the liberals. Oh, the conservative over the progressives, and the Democrats and the Republicans, and this duopoly we got going on. Listen, folks, I want you to know something. If you go back, way back, president after president, Congress after Congress, each one of them says the same thing. We're going to clean up the swamp. We're going to move America forward. We're going to make America great again. We're going to build back better. Guess what, folks? Each one of them are going to promise you something, and they're going to be able to deliver. Why? Because this is part of the system. They want you talking. They don't want you taking action. They want you talking. And that's all we do. Talk. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on Instagram, everybody on YouTube, we're just talking. And all we do is cry about what politicians do. We cry about the government. Oh, the government is oppressing us. They're keeping us down, yada, yada, yada. Guys, last I checked, you have a choice. You can do something about this. Okay, I'm going to get into that some more too. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. Now, this is a framework that a wise man told me about, and it's one that challenges me. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing an exercise with a good friend of mine. We are going to be going through this exercise, and I have what I call my 6 buckets of life, right? Your health, physical and mental, your finances, your relationships, your faith, if you're religious or not, even if you're not religious, your faith or your spirituality, your career, education, and then your rest, relaxation, and renewal. If you ask these 4 questions about each of those components of your life, what is it going to tell you? Well, I want to walk through some of these, and I want to walk through it from the Bitcoin perspective because this is Bitcoin freedom, and I want you guys to understand why. So on the next slide, I'm telling you what I believe. So, and again, if I flip back, and hate to do this to Nick, but flip back to the previous slide, there's 4 questions. What do you believe? How do you know it's true? Who told you? And what if they're wrong? Okay, so let me go to the what do I believe? Now, what do I believe? I believe Bitcoin is freedom. And I've said that many, many times. That's why I named the show what I named it. Many people had been talking about Bitcoin is freedom. And I believe that a bull run is coming as we approach 2024 halving. Now, why do I believe that? So on the next slide, we're going to say, how do I know that's true? Well, the first thing that I point everybody to is the Bitcoin white paper. Folks, listen, do not take my word. I could get it wrong. I can misquote the white paper. I can say all kinds of outlandish crap. Go read the white paper. And if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then just walk away because it's not going to do you any good. Now, if you don't understand what the white paper says, yes, are there people that can help you understand? Of course there are. But at everything that the white paper says and is, and one of the biggest things that we get wrong when we talk about Bitcoin is we stop it part of the way. We say Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash, and that's it. But that's not the case. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash system network. This is a peer-to-peer electronic cash network. Cash is a part of it. but it's a full network that does a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can pull this up, and I want to read you just a little bit. This is the abstract from the Bitcoin white paper. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution. Note that Satoshi Nakamoto said we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamp transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot change without redoing the proof of work. Remember, the governor of New York banned proof of work mining. Doesn't understand, right? I think the governor needs to go read the Bitcoin white paper. The longest chain not only serves as a proof of the sequence of the events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as a majority of the CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they'll generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structure. Messages are broadcast on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longer proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. Okay? So this is how I know it's true. It's because it's in the Bitcoin white paper, and the Bitcoin blockchain is an open public ledger that anyone can verify. That's how I know it's true. Now, it was Robert Breedlove who said 21 million fixed supply, and in the white paper it talks about the fact that Bitcoin is programmed to only have 21 million of them. If you add massive demand, there's 8 billion people on the planet. If everyone needed to operate with this new system, the new network, the number has to go up. Simple as that, guys. Simple as that. And it happens every 4 years due to the halving event that happens when the Bitcoin reward gets cut in half. Again, all of this is in the Bitcoin white paper. Don't believe me, read the white paper. But it says that in the white paper, started with 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, as folks in Twitter, crypto Twitter like to say, TikTok next block. It's been doing that for the past 14 years without fail, with a 99.999% uptime. That should tell you something, right? Again, how do I know it's true? Because this is what's happened for the last 14 years without fail. So if we look at the next slide, who told you? Well, if you watch this video, here's a little of what Jeff Booth has said. It is impossible over the longer term for laws to protect a population from manipulated money. This is, again, what Bitcoin is here to fix. There's no manipulation in Bitcoin. You can't manipulate Bitcoin because Bitcoin is programmed, it's math, it's language, and it's set in code. It says when the laws are influenced by the people that benefit most from the manipulation. This is what Jeff Booth was saying. He says only an emergent parallel system outside the control could solve that paradox, and that's Bitcoin. If you do not click that, you'll have access to the slide. If you do not click that, if you do not dig deeper, and you're only going off of what I said, shame on you. Shame on you for just listening to sort of what I said. It's out there in black and white for everyone to access and look at for yourself. Please do the work yourself and go understand what these people are talking about. I'm only giving you little bits and nuggets. I'm not giving you the full story. You need to dig deeper. I'd be on here for hours, days, months, years trying to dig into each and every one of these things. That's what I want you guys to do. Now, on the next slide, who else told me this is not about the network? Then this is about the projection of what I think the bull. The first I said Bitcoin is freedom. Jeff Booth talks to the freedom. And then Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital is going to talk about the second part where I think there's going to be a bull run. He says this: if history were to repeat itself, the price of Bitcoin would trough December 30th of 2022. We would then see a rally into early 2024 and then a strong rally after the actual halving. And that's from Dan Moorhead. This report from Pantera Capital, again, if you do not read it and you do not dig through it, shame on you, because you should. This is valuable information that these people have taken their hard time and effort to put together so that we can understand what's going on. And if we don't want to do the work and we want to say, oh, I'm busy, okay, be busy. I'm not going to hate you for being busy, but do not come back later and be like, oh, no one told me. I'm telling you, okay? Now, the last slide, what if they're wrong? What if they are wrong? I tell people this all the time. Listen, be prepared for all situations. Military taught me this when I was in the Navy. They said have plan A, plan B, and plan C. You need a tertiary plan, primary, secondary, tertiary plan. You can't rely on the fact that you're going to have plan A and B. What if those two fail and go wrong? You need a backup, right? That's the way it works in all situations. Now, if Bitcoin were to rally from here and we were to go to the moon, back to all-time highs and beyond, do you have enough Bitcoin that is going to move the needle and make sense for you? If it does, you're in good shape. But what if Bitcoin were to drop? Then you need to have some dry powder ready. Phil Boswani used to tell us this all the time, have some dry powder, have some dry powder. What does that mean? Have some money sitting over to the side that you're waiting for that opportunity to snatch up some cheap sats. And right now, if Bitcoin were to do what most people are talking about, go to 14, go to 12, God forbid they go to 10, where Arthur Hayes says he is going all in, right? Even Garrett Soloway said we could possibly see this thing pull back to the 8 or 9K range. It's not out of it's not out of possibilities. Again, possibilities, not probabilities. We have to ask the difference. What's the difference? Bitcoin could do anything, right? I don't know. I don't know the future. I'm a crystal ball as much as I like to think I do. But probable, you have to look at the numbers, look at the math, look at the charts, you know, all of that good stuff that Fibbo tells us all the time. Hey, listen, he's got, on top of my brief that I put out every day, I've got one where he's talking about some really amazing cycles. You need to take a look at that, because some of that could possibly be true. Now, again, Fibbo hasn't promised us anything. He hasn't told us for a fact this is exactly what it's going to do, but he's laying out the probabilities of what could possibly happen. And so what you should do and what I should do is take that as just a data point in our decision-making process and say, let me think about this. Okay, do I believe him? What if he's wrong? Okay, am I ready for it? And then the last part is that if Bitcoin trades sideways, then don't panic and remain calm, right? That's just the way you can relax. Why? Because you have your resources in the hardest money on the planet. Listen, let's go to the next slide, and I'm glad I put this there so that you can see it. Bitcoin has three things going for it. Bitcoin has been ruled a commodity by the SEC. That is a fact. If you look on anywhere, the SEC, CFTC, governments, everybody says the same thing. Bitcoin is a commodity. It is not a security. So you're safe there. Decentralized across the globe. Listen, Bitcoin mining Bitcoin mining and nodes don't get a lot of talk, but Bitcoin mining and nodes are throughout the entire world. I would almost say it's on every continent except for Antarctica. But you probably have somebody running a node literally everywhere in space. We know that Blockstream has a satellite up there beaming down the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So Bitcoin is totally decentralized, and it's resistant to government control. Governments have tried to regulate Bitcoin, and guess what? They can't. There's nothing they can do, right? China tried. See what happened in China. They said, okay, all you miners, get out of here. The miners left. Still, people are mining in China. We're not going to deal with Bitcoin. But guess what? The Chinese government holds more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Well, why don't they just sell it all? Why don't they do what the United States did? Sell all your Bitcoin, China. You don't like it? What's this mean? You can sell it? No, you can't. You know why? Because they're not that crazy, I don't think. And even if they were, guess what? It still doesn't matter to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to do what Bitcoin does. Tick, tock, next block. Not going to stop. All right, let's take a look at our next slide, where I put out some things I discussed last week about Bitcoin, and that is that it does store value. Now, there are some people that debate if it's a safe haven. Some people even debate if it's a store of value. But I told you that's based on what? It's based on your time frame. If you're looking short time frames, of course you can make any argument that Bitcoin's not a store of value. Yeah, it was at 69 last year and it's at 16 now. Okay, that's not a store of value if that's your time frame. Stretch the time frame out, and Bitcoin is a store of value from 0 to 16,000. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Bitcoin gives us hope. It builds our faith and it creates confidence. Listen, anybody that's involved in Bitcoin, and I'm saying it on purpose, you have a renewed sense of hope, faith, and confidence that just can't be shaken. Listen, I believe it was Michael Saylor that said he looked this once and he was like, whatever, internet money. Came back, right? I said that will tank 8% and then rebounds. These are crazy. And now what does Michael Saylor said? Standing at the Bitcoin conference in Miami, says, Laura, you do not sell your Bitcoin, right? That's just the way it is. You do not sell your Bitcoin, is what he said. Why? Because Bitcoiners know that this is the place to be. As Jeff Booth said, this is the new system. It's the parallel system. And soon more and more people will come over to the new system because they know that that's where you can have truth. That's where you know you can have light. That's where you know your future is secure. And it's not based on man, it's based on math. Why do we want to believe man when we can believe math? It's simple as that. So if we go to our next slide, I want you to think about something and keep this in your mind. And if you, again, don't believe me, but keep this in your mind. Who and what to influence your financial future? Can. Listen, it happened for me. Had I not listened to either it was Trace Mayer or Max Kaiser, I don't remember exactly which one of those fellows I first heard about Bitcoin from on Twitter. But those are the people that I started listening to. Changed my financial future, heavily influenced my financial future. And it's not only with money, but it's with anything in life. If you listen to certain people, they're going to influence you a certain way. They say, what? We're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Who are the 5 people you're spending the most time with? I'm just saying, you need to do an assessment of what you're letting into your mental brain space that you ultimately decide, I believe that. If you look at your and it's not, look at the people around and you tell me where they are, rarely you see a group of people who are highly successful, very effective in life, have somebody around them with life. It just doesn't exist in happy life. It's because that person refuses to listen and be influenced by those other successful people and effective people. You get what I'm saying? It's that hard. But we make life to be very, very hard. So on the next slide, let me tell you what some of the folks are saying about Bitcoin over this last week from a lot of the news that I've collected. And we start off with the one that I just talked about before, Michael Saylor. He says what? Bitcoin must be understood as something outside this crypto industry. And he's right. Listen, folks, there's a difference between Bitcoin and crypto. I know that we say Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and a crypto asset, but listen, there's a fundamental difference, right? And I don't remember who it was that I was watching a video of, and they were outlining all the different cryptos. It was Mark Moss, believe it or not. Mark Moss, on one of his shows recently, was talking about all the other things that are out there, including Ethereum, which in Belgium, they've said that it's not a security, it's a commodity. We've said that Ethereum is, we don't know yet. I think there are some that said it was, some that says it isn't, and they've been back and forth on that. But he's saying that Bitcoin is something outside of the crypto industry, and it is. Listen, this FTX fiasco, shit show, whatever you want to call it, that's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin has nothing to do with him and his shenanigans, SBF and all that crap that's going on. Bitcoin is different. Michael Saylor tells us that, and you can read that Crypto Globe article to see more. Kraken founder Jesse Powell predicts that the next big event that pushes crypto market And again, when you listen to people like Jesse Powell, a guy that's been around for a very long time, as a matter of fact, I was using Circle, and then Kraken was the next exchange that I used in the early days. I did not touch Mt. Gox, thankfully for myself, but I did go from Circle to Kraken, and Kraken has been a phenomenal platform. They're still around. Jesse has been through some hoops, but he believes that the next big event is coming. It's going to push us right out of this bear market. Now, if you look at Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he says he's still bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum despite the FTX crisis. People are still bullish in this environment. We just had a massive collapse of a significant exchange like FTX. And I know a lot of people don't understand FTX, while it probably used by some retail people, it was mostly used by the big boys. This was the hedge funds, the VCs. This is why this is so significant. The amount of money we were dealing with this dwarfs all the other stuff that's happened in the past. The Quadriga CXs, the Mt. Goxes, all that stuff pales in comparison to FTX and what it destroyed. So, but Robert Kiyosaki said, hey, I'm still bullish about Bitcoin and Ethereum despite the FTX collapse. Bitcoin will survive failure of any giant in crypto, and that's what Samson Mouse says. Samson Mouse, part of Blockstream, right? Part of the crypto friends, if you know that way back in the day. Fluffy Pony and all guys. Bitcoin might reach 149,000 after the next halving cycle, and that's what you'll see in the Pantera report, 149,000 after the cycle. Now, again, this is in line with what Mark Yusko believes as well. He said it'll be 2024 before we can see 100 again, and I believe the same. Anybody telling us that we're going to get to 250K before 2024 is smoking something. Listen, I don't believe it, and I encourage you guys not to believe it. Here's why. We were bamboozled by a lot of the talking heads making us believe that Bitcoin is going to be $1 million by the year 2021. Rest in peace, John McAfee. It's not true. And you're going to see this in another slide. I'm going to be challenging you guys on some more issues because, again, who and what you listen to can determine, and I mean, not determine, can heavily influence your financial. It won't determine it because at the end of the day, you have to make a choice whether you believe what they're saying or not. And if you take action on what they said, again, that's where the ball moves to your court, and shame on you for taking action based on who you believe. We like to put the blame on somebody else when things go bad. Well, they said, well, they had their name on stadium, so I decided they were going to be okay. This is the problem that a lot of the big boys had. They looked at Sequoia and said, well, since Sequoia has given them a pass, I'm going to give them a pass. No, do your own due diligence. It's too hard, too difficult. I don't have time, right? Sequoia is good. I'm good with Sequoia. There you go. That's what you get for following Sequoia. All right, let's look at what somebody else said. And the next one refers back to what I said about the governor up in New York. The governor in Texas said this: Bitcoin is good for the power grid, and we are promoting Bitcoin. We are advancing it, and we are providing a platform for it. Bitcoin is the cutting edge of innovation in the world. That's what Governor Greg Abbott has said here in Texas. He gets it. He gets it at a level that I think a lot of the governors do not get it. And if I was Greg Abbott, I'd be sitting in the room with all of my governor counterparts from all the other 50 states and saying, hey, knock, knock, wake up, buddy. Like, listen, Bitcoin, this is it. You guys need to get on board. How powerful do you think it could be if all the governors got on board and said, we welcome Bitcoin, we welcome Bitcoin? Powerful, right? Very, very powerful. So on the next slide, what do you believe? So I told you what I believe, and I'm hoping that some of you will take this framework about true north and finding your true north, especially as it applies to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and ask yourself, what do you believe? Listen, it is time for crypto fans to stop supporting cults of personality. This is a great article from Cointelegraph, and the blog post that I've got linked there, it shows you to my blog. After the FTX fiasco, I'd say that's it for me. That was my, as Caitlin Long says, she had her Mt. Gox moment. That was my Mt. Gox moment. Listen, I am done even curating news from all the talking heads out there that talk about where Bitcoin's going to go. Now, again, listen, I don't have any personal issue with any of these people, but your Crypto Capo, your Justin Bennett's, and I mean all these other guys that are out there. And I'm not trying to dog any of them by any stretch of the imagination. But again, if you go back and you do the historical search over all of their calls and all their projections, what do you wind up with? A lot of it is people just spouting out stuff because they feel like it. It's like me. Listen, guys, I will tell you that Bitcoin's going to go to the moon tomorrow. And if you believe me, again, you're crazy, because I don't have a background that can tell you that. Fibbo Swanee, on the other hand, Brian Swan, is someone who does this kind of stuff for a day job. This is what he gets paid to do. This is his profession. Someone that you can look at, and he's been doing it for nearly 2 decades, maybe even more. So if someone had a career doing it that long, they've got something behind them. Now, again, I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm sure he's made some bad calls himself. He'll probably admit to that himself. But he depends on the charts. He depends on his skills. He depends on what he can see and how he analyzes it. And that's important. So who you decide to believe, and again, rather we believe in all these people. What people don't understand is that with FTX, so many people got paid big dollars to push that brand. And again, I'm not trying to call people out and talk about them, but you guys know a lot of the YouTubers on their shows, a lot of the podcasters. I have a good friend. He's a podcaster. I'm not going to bring up the names. Don't need to do that. He told me, hey, listen, Paul, I shield a lot of this stuff. It's what I get paid to do. I'm part of a company. I'm on the podcast, and that's who they employ. They've signed a deal with them, and I'm going to shield it because this is the way it works, people. All of these people out there that was talking about FTX, they were getting paid handsomely. So here's the thing that I say. Listen, if FTX was paying me the tune that they were probably paying some of these people, the tens of thousands of dollars for the tweets and for sponsoring them, you know what I'd be telling you guys? Hey, they paid me. That's why I did it. This is the way people get to understand truly why these people are talking about it in the fashion that they're talking about it. They're saying, oh, and I use FTX. Well, of course I use FTX. They're paying me tens of thousands of dollars to say that, and I probably do have some assets on the platform, but not all of them. But I'm not going to tell you that in my advertisement. I'm just going to say, hey, use FTX. They're the best thing since sliced bread. They're amazing, because I'm getting paid to tell you that. Who and what you listen to can heavily influence your financial future. Folks, be careful who you listen to. Dig into why they're saying what they're saying. Don't just take what they say and run with it. It's dangerous. I've done it myself. Listen, the Celsius, the Voyagers, the BlockFis, I was out there. And here's the thing again, I didn't get paid by either one of those brands outside of an affiliate link, and barely got a few folks click an affiliate link. So guess what? I was on BlockFi, I was on Celsius, I was on Voyager. I got burned just like everybody else. Good lesson, right? Guess what? Who and what you listen to will be able to heavily influence your financial future. I'm learning that, and I'm learning just like everybody else. So guess what? Now, me, Bitcoin. Am I a maxi? No. Do I hate the other assets? No. Will I never touch the other assets? No, I'm not saying that. But I know that Bitcoin is the place to be, and that's where your true security will be. The majority is in Bitcoin, and that's where it will remain. Because listen, as Charlie Lee said, you buy one Bitcoin before you get it. That's just the way it goes. Get yourself some security, get it set, hodl that key, own that key. And hey, if you want to go play and have fun, go play and have fun. But people need to understand it's playtime there. It is not serious time. You do not put your life savings inside of shitcoins. It's just the way it goes, people. Is it okay to buy a little Doge? Is it okay to buy a little Shiba Inu? Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, go ahead, play. But do not ever mistake that this is going to go to the moon. The fans, how about, yeah, got to. Yeah, why? Because we started thinking that this stuff is going to be around. It's not the case, guys. There's a reason that Bitcoin maxis are as passionate as they are. I don't think they need to be toxic, but there's a reason that they're passionate the way they are, because they understand at a fundamental level what Bitcoin is. And that's what we all need to understand. We all understand that a huge demand hit Bitcoin, and the price probably will go to the moon as a result of that massive demand. Okay, so I sort of named this show about will you succeed or fail? Let's look at the definition of failure. The condition or fact of not achieving the desired end or ends, one that fails, or the condition or fact being insufficient or falling short. Falling short of what you desire to do, goals. If you don't have goals, you need to have some goals. But if you fail, it just means that you haven't achieved the desired outcome, the desired ends, right? You've fallen short. And that's just the way that it is. When we look at the word success, it's a degree or measuring of succeeding, favorable or desired outcome, also the attainment of wealth, favor, or eminence, or one that succeeds. So I asked someone once, what's the difference between success and failure? And I probably should have relocated that slide, but it's on the next slide. But basically, to me, it's hard to say what success, because everyone says success something different, right? Listen, to some people, owning a Lamborghini is success, right? They get that Lamborghini, they're like, I'm successful, or owning a big house, or having a particular job, or making a certain level of income, or dating a certain person, or you name it. Success is different. Failure is the same for everybody. Falling short of a desired outcome is the same as it is for you as it is for everybody else in the world. If you said that you were going to do something and you didn't get that done, that's called failure, and it's the same for us all. Succeeding, I have a different level of what I think success is from what you think success is. So at the end of the day, the goal to success and to being a success, and this is for me, is to prevent failure. If I can prevent myself from failing, by default, I've succeeded, right? It's just the way that it is. And that's what I always aim for and shoot for. Now, on the next slide, I want to talk about effective habits, because those habits is what's going to help us succeed. Now, Dr. Covey wrote a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've touted it out there many times on Twitter, talked to a lot of people about it. I actually facilitated this course at one of the government agencies I used to, and this is what I really want people to grasp and get a hold of, because this is what's going to determine whether you succeed or fail. 3 things of habits: knowledge, skill, and desire. Knowledge, skill, and desire. Knowledge is the what to or why to, and that's one that you want to dig into, right? What do you want to do and why do you want to do it? Gain that knowledge about that. That's one aspect. The other is skill, the how to. Do you know how to do what you want to do? That's key. And then desire is the want to. And you can have one of those and lack the other 2, and you're still going to get the other 2. And if we were having a conversation, you could tell me which one you thought that was, but I'll give you the answer. Desire. If you have the desire, you will find a way to get the knowledge and the skills to do whatever it is you want to do in life. Let's just say you had skill, but you didn't have the desire. Well, we call those people lazy bums, right? That's somebody that have the ability to do stuff. I see them all the time in the world. People that have amazing skills and they actually do nothing because they don't have the desire to do it. And they fail time and time again. Have that with somebody very close to me right now. They have the skill to do so many things, but they're lacking the desire. And so they fail. Let's say you have the knowledge. It's great to have the knowledge. You can know how to do something. You can even know why you want to do it. But if you don't have the desire and the skill, you get it done. It can't just be in your head and your heart to move your hands right. That's the way it is, effective habits. If we look at the next slide, I talk about it, right? Will you succeed or fail? Success for me means prevention of failure. So quality information, and this is key, that goes back to that knowledge piece. Quality information. Where are you getting your information from? This is the problem that we have in society right now, because many people get information from Twitter or from some of these crazy random places. You have to ask yourself, can you really believe this stuff? Some people actually really believe it. Quality though. Quality information booth. That's quality information. Michael Saylor, quality information. Fibbo Swanee when it comes to technical analysis, quality information. Altcoin Daily, quality information, curation of news information about the space. Even better than myself. They're great, right? Quality information plus motivation. You gotta have the desire to want to do it, and then you gotta execute. I believe it was Gary Vee that talks about it all the time. Execution. Without execution, it doesn't matter. This goes back to my talking deal, right? Governments love people. You know why? Because all most people are going to do is talk. They're not doing anything. No. They're not. Founding fathers of the United States of America. Enough is enough, and that's all I'm going to take, and I can't take no more. It's time for action. We got to go do something, right? This is you can hear people talking about big all this other stuff, but until you actually buy it and hold your own keys, it's all talk, right? You'll finally come in when the water goes out. It's going to go out soon, so people better and get quality information, get motivated, and then execute daily. If you're doing these things, you most likely have a good chance of, if you do not do these things, I'm almost guaranteed you'll fail. Not even a doubt in my mind, right? Another thing that Covey talks about is the see, do, get model. What we see encourages us to do certain things, and if we do certain things, we get certain results, and those results will either confirm what we saw or it won't. And if it doesn't, we won't do the same thing again to try to get a different result. And those people, we said them before, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting the results you need to do and you think you're going to get a different one, that's called crazy. Don't be crazy. See, do, get. That circle is very important in your life. Listen, they always tell you, this is the way kids are raised, right? Kids see the stove. Oh, I want to touch that. Parent says, don't touch it. Hi. Oh, I don't believe them. I touch it. I get burned. Guess what? I'm not going to do again. I'm not touching the stove. At least the smart ones won't. The crazy ones will stick their hand back up there thinking that they're not going to get burned. It's like, you just got burned. Don't do it again. Back to this crypto stuff, right? People thought, oh, don't play with crypto, don't play with shit coins. But we go, no, shit coins are okay. We can play with shit coins. And then guess what? We smell like, yeah. And then some people will go back into them again and say, did you listen, when Celsius went under and BlockFi got rescued by SBF supposedly, I was baffled that people were still doing BlockFi. I'm like, you guys not just learn. Did you see what just happened? And you're still going to put your money with BlockFi? Again, not dogging the BlockFi folks out specifically, but come on, guys. Seriously? When are we going to learn? Well, you know what? I can play with this other little altcoin. I can play with this other little altcoin. I'll be okay. Tomorrow, we're going to hear another blow up of an altcoin. It's like, oh, crap. Why do we keep doing this? We know where the true value is, and that's in Bitcoin. But I'm telling you, trying to save you, do not put your life savings in altcoins. It's just not wise, guys. It's not wise, right? I don't know. I'm hoping that my message is starting to get through to you. And if it is, you're in a good shape. Okay, the last slide. Will you succeed or fail? Here's the thing. This is what I want everybody to remember. And again, listen, I'm no different. I've gotten burned really bad because I thought I was smarter than the rest of the crowd, right? And I thought I could do stuff and get away with it, and I thought I'd be okay, and I can't. So, but what I do know, though, is this. If I can create value by solving challenges for other people, the money's going to come. Byproduct, right? If I can make a difference in the world, and that link, I want you guys to click it because there's some good information behind it. But if I can make a difference in the world, money's going to come. It's a byproduct, right? So even if you've been someone who not been wise and have taken some steps and some actions that put you in a precarious situation, then now you've gotten burned by the stove, Bitcoin is incredibly forgiving, right? Bitcoin was at 69,000. People were buying it like it was going out of style. Bitcoin is 16,000, guys. It's very forgiving. It's giving you another opportunity to get back up on the horse and to try again. Do not If you do that, but you can't wait till we get back to 100K and then cry, foul, oh, I missed the boat. No, what you should have been doing is you should have been stacking sats as fast as you possibly can during this time. If Bitcoin goes to 10, I hope, I pray, I wish that each of you will not be as foolish as to think Bitcoin's going to zero. Guys, Bitcoin's not going to zero. It's just not. It's not possible, probable. It's not probable. I struggle hard with this because I'm like, what makes people think that Bitcoin's going to go to zero? Can Bitcoin go down? Of course it can go. But what I want people to understand is that it's giving you an opportunity to get back to where you were before this whole calamity happened. Brett Soloway said this. Watch his interview with Altcoin Daily on Bitcoin, and he said this. He says, I am buying right now. Right now. He's buying right now. $100,000. Wait, was it $100,000? I think he said something like that. Some massive amount of. He's buying right now, and he said, if Bitcoin goes down to 14, I'm buying there, and if it goes down to 12, I'm buying there, and if it goes down to 10, I'm buying there. He is gonna buy all the way down. You think he thinks it's gonna go to zero? Is as bearish as he sounds sometimes? No, I don't think so. So what is that telling you and what is it telling me? Again, who and what you listen to will heavily influence your financial future. I am going to listen to the other wise minds that are out there that I have seen. You look at Cathie Wood. She just plunked 100K into GBTC, or actually it was probably more than that. I forget how much. No, the number was way more than 100K. But she just bought a lot of GBTC, right? Why? There's a discount. But people say, but Genesis might go out of business. Grayscale, they might be in trouble. They're going to go bankrupt. Oh, apparently she knows something we don't know, or she's going to be on an island by herself and she's going to get burned really bad. Again, I can't make the decision to do something based on what those people are doing. I can take those as data points, and that's exactly what I do. And I look at the probability. I say, probability of these people taking the action that they're taking and the information that I'm reading and the things that I'm looking at and the things that I'm listening to from Jeff Booth and from all the other people that are out there that I believe are wise, I will take action. However, if it doesn't pan out, what if they're wrong? I don't cry about it, and I don't say, oh, I can't believe Cathie Wood, and I can't believe Jeff Booth, and I can't believe all these people told me that Bitcoin was going to the moon, it was going to 100K, and blah, blah, blah. No, I can't blame them for me taking the action I took. I made a calculated decision, looking at my risk tolerance, that I could possibly be okay if I take this particular action. That's the way you got to think about this stuff, folks. And again, your situation is totally different than everybody else's. So it's not a one size fit all. Bitcoin is for everyone. Bitcoin is for you. As Mark Yusro says, Bitcoin is the best savings technology the planet has ever seen. I believe that. Even with it going to 69 and back to 16, still the best savings technology. People have 401ks. They dump money into it on a regular basis. They don't even think about it. The price goes up, the price goes down. Nobody ever talks about it. When was the last time you heard somebody talking about the 401k and they were talking about how it was going up and down? Nobody ever. They don't pay attention to it. They just keep stocking money in there. And then all of a sudden, over time, 20 plus years, they come back and guess what? They got a nest egg. This is the way you look at it, folks. This is not a day-by-day, minute-by-minute decision time. This is time for us to understand Bitcoin is something totally different that the world's never seen before. This probably came from aliens. I don't know. Church Michael would be alien. But anyway, it came from somewhere, and it has the ability to truly put us in a better financial future if we will listen to what Bitcoin says and do what Bitcoin asks us to do. And Bitcoin says this: here I am. You decide for yourself if you should use me. If you think I'm good, use me. If you think I'm bad, don't use me. But it's ultimately your decision. And that's where I'm probably going to leave it. Hey, listen, folks, listen, if you want to follow me, you probably already follow me on Twitter. If you're not, you can follow me on Twitter at _cryptocurator. You have access to my website, cryptocurator.com. On that website, I am constantly posting information on there every day. And the information that I put on there are the 3 top most covered stories. They're not the biggest, the 3 top most covered stories from publications that are publishing about crypto information. I put a podcast and a video out there. And of course, these videos so you guys can have access to them. But I put information on that website so that you guys will have a resource to go to that you can depend on, that is by someone who has been around. I've been around since 2011. I've been curating this information. I've learned over time I can't curate all information. Some of this stuff that I used to curate back in the day, I look back now and go, I can't believe I even curated these people's articles because they're just talking crap. I'm now trying to improve the quality of that curation. So I do have the daily brief at the very top part of the website. Every day you can go to the very top and get that daily brief, and that fills up. That's where all is. Those 3 articles are just the top 3 of what's going on. And as you can see there, Kathy Wood, and of course CZ and the stuff that's going on with him, and of course, with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'm hoping that I've put some information here to make you guys think. And if I have, I've done the job that I wanted to do. I just want you guys to think about this stuff. And if you think about it, you're going to understand it better. There's another article that I put on my brief too, is following the money. $7 billion has gone into digital asset projects and assets this month. Month over month, it's almost double-digit billions. You think there is action here, people. There's action, and you don't want to miss out. So with that, the producer of the show, once again, Bitcoin Live, they have made it possible so that I can make this show for you guys and I can bring this information to you. This Thursday, I'm going to make an attempt, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can bring you something really good in Bitcoin and politics on Thursday. I can't wait to get Cap Hill Crypto on the show once again. Hopefully, at some point, he'll make time for me. And if not him, some of the other folks that are around the industry. I'm going to be tracking Congress and what they're doing legislation. If you get a chance, go to caphillcrypto.com. Check out the legislative tracker. There are a lot of bills in Congress right now that this Congress is going to be looking at. So, yeah, I want you guys to check that out as well. And with that, let me go ahead and say, you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to watch some football. Even though my Cowboys didn't play, I'm going to go watch some football. So you guys have a good